Wondering what happened to former writers who once worked for Marvel or Disney? Well, they have found a new field of activity. Did you really think you would only encounter purposefully placed diversity, equity, and inclusion in a few Hollywood films? Those you can turn off, or do not have to watch them to the end. But what is the next step? They force you to watch, they force you to sit through, so that you should be left with no other choice than to support DEI if you have not researched who you are flying with beforehand. Once the door is closed, you can't get out so easily. Be in the air and enjoy the show, while they tell you a story. After you land, you wonder what has just happened and how long things will last. Building networks, forming teams and transcontinental coalitions. A world government is missing in an age in which rockets can land themselves, but many issues assume a more global exception, without being solved globally. Addressing innovation, technology and problems flexibly and creatively has so far saved and moved society forward. All of this happens when employees are deprived of joy and motivation. They may not speak up at all because they have not spent enough time in the sun, or they're missing a part of the second X chromosome. This preserves freedom, advances everyone and does not restrict anyone. But there is a catch: more people are making less effort to not only weave their personal views into laws, rules or norms, but also to interpret them afterwards according to their own agenda. The images and texts shown come from the European Aviation Safety Authority, EASA. The aim here is to sensitize pilots to safety and other issues. Briefly about the procedure of this authority. The central goal for years has been to hand over responsibility to the airlines or flight operations and, as a bonus, to give them the correct worldview and attitude. How does the authority do this? A team of bureaucrats publishes thousands of pages of manifestos, which not only all operations have to read, but have also to be implemented in this way. The total number of pages that a pilot is supposed to have internalized is well over 10,000. To put it simply, heaps of digital paper are put on the table, but the implementation is strictly controlled only for those who question it. You can see for yourself at what level this is superficially. Are all ideas bad? No, but instead of trying Mufasa, let me tell you a story, or whatever the image of a child studying molecular biology has lost there, the time would be more sensible to present this in a condensed way and only insert parts that are really required. All publications would have to be checked word for word to see whether this is necessary, whether it actually increases efficiency and safety, what can be shortened or deleted. Currently, authors are paid according to the number of pages and words, for the motto "the more the better." This also applies to other authorities. Content is placed under mountains of filler words, relying on the fact that no one has enough time or desire to read everything. By the way, this applies to the approval of documents. Here, usually only the revision is checked, but not whether something has changed in the base document. If someone accidentally forgets to mention this during the revision, pretty much anything can be in these texts, although it is not obvious to the reader that it comes from the authority or the author and it was simply overlooked. The associated legal texts are becoming more and more difficult for airlines and are causing higher costs and an extreme administrative burden. What will actually be saved on in order to be able to cope with this? On safety to recoup these costs. The technology has long been there to transmit all possible data from an aircraft to the control stations. There is camera surveillance everywhere, but not all taxiways and runways are camera monitored. How can airplanes run out of fuel without a ground station knowing? You can also transmit this data from the aircraft to the radar stations. The simple truth is that the technology in airplanes has come a long way and the sprawling bureaucracy isn't actually needed. A completely different approach is required. Information would have to be prepared much better, reduced to the essentials and presented in a clear form. In addition, the findability of all related information should be improved and bundled centrally instead of being distributed across multiple websites. Currently, people are looking for information in text form from several websites and then just have a lot to read. This does not increase safety in any way, on the contrary.
I can't let you go, there's no way. I'm already So hold me close, now baby, I do what I'm told, still learning to take my chances, to take my time, to keep on dancing, to walk that line, yeah. You got me shifting the paradigm, no longer wishing, you're my lucky strike. Love the way you ride, look into my eyes, say you're ready to go. $1 million life, we could roll the dice, act like you surprised, but you already know. Oh yeah, got lucky overnight, jackpot when I got the invite. Let me wrap my arms around you, cause I can't go home without you. And my heart just vibe with you back, wanna go sky high with you back. Gotta bring you close to Daniel. You're my lucky strike, and I got to tell you, if you didn't know, then I got to tell you, that you're my lucky strike, and I got to tell you, if you didn't know, then I got to tell you, that you're my lucky strike. Cooler than cold, I'm all in, so load up the dice, so heavy, the way that you roll, I'm falling, so I never fall, I'm ready to take my chances, to take my time, to keep on dancing, to walk that line, yeah. You got me shifting the paradigm, no longer wishing, you're my lucky strike, yeah. Love the way you ride, look into my eyes, say you're ready to go. $1 million life, yeah. We could roll the dice, yeah. Act like you surprised, but you already know. You're my lucky strike, and I got to tell you, if you didn't know, then I got to tell you, that you're my lucky strike, and I got to tell you, if you didn't know, then I got to tell you, that you're my lucky strike.
The system is made so complicated that those it affects cannot understand or process all the details. This is about selection. Exceptions are made for those for whom you want to make exceptions or do not want to enforce this, but not for everyone else. The state otherwise manages to label everything, except for DEI, pronouns are asked for, but something that is being tried to instill in people on such a broad front should at least be labeled. Especially when that is one of the company's main goals. It is like letting people buy Coca-Cola without saying whether it contains caffeine, with or without sugar. What if people are allergic to something like this or don't want to support it in this form? Do you agree with the following statements? Are you law-abiding, follow the rules, do what you're told? Well, then you have to do everything we tell you to do, which by the way is becoming more and more expensive, unnecessarily complicated, but you have to stick to it because it protects you and the community. Sounds familiar, right? If you refuse, you become very, let's call it, unlucky. The processing time for applications get extended or may not be approved at all. You will find it difficult to find work or a partner. Why? Because to do all of this you have to use mostly technology that has been programmed by people with an ideology. Money, influence and opportunities will be taken away from you and redistributed. Did you think companies like Google do not have these options? You have already admitted that they can tap your phones, use and sell all your data. You even agreed to this, otherwise you are not allowed to use the platform. Everything is legal and the people who don't want to take part are systematically excluded with a clear agenda. There are enough people in the world and we only want and save those who correspond to our ideas. We take everything from the rest until they have nothing left and end up on the streets. The people you once laughed at, you could soon be one of them yourself if you have the wrong opinion. The desired worldview here is that men, who are controlled by women, program everything as diverse as possible. This system controls you in such a way that you voluntarily give more and more power to women and minorities, or it is taken away from you. In the medium term, AI will take over even more areas, and what will they get you with each time? With the small print that no one reads? That was before today. There is the Transparency Initiative which has more than one meaning. They tell you openly and want you to agree, ideally it was your idea. If that doesn't work, the much easier method is to ban things, restrict all sorts of content, exclude entire groups of people or scare you. If you still doubt that this is no longer about conveying ideology, here are a few facts from the real world. Women are no better at dealing with power than men. They are more perfidious. While men resolve conflicts openly, a lot of things happen in the background. Does this make it better? No, it makes it more difficult to control and understand. And women often don't know when it is better to just keep their mouths shut and not let an argument escalate. To put it better, they intentionally provoke, and when a man defends himself, they say he is bad and has to leave. They also constantly change the rules, the goalpost, just to see how far they can go. Does this apply to all women? Absolutely not, and especially those who are not like that deserve to be heard and be a role model. It's no different for men either. So let's create a good balance here too, and listen especially to those who deserve it, use power responsibly and put the matter above their own ego.